So hi, I'm Dyonne. I'm a healer from Holland. And today I am with Miriam, a philosopher from Sweden, and Josef, a psychologist, healer from Sweden as well. And we are together on our never-ending journey with our morning musings on personal development. And the last time the three of us were together, I think we talked mostly about David Abram and the Spell of the Sensuous and Bill Plotkin's work of Descent of the Soul. And actually, what they all contain or talk about is how the importance of personal development, and how important it is to mature oneself, to mature the soul. And we want to come from another perspective now, which is coming from the famous, theory of Kazimierz Dabrowski. He's a very genius Polish psychiatrist or psychologist. I'm not sure what his specific field was, but he came up with the importance of personal development. He came up actually with a theory he calls the positive disintegration. And what he does, the way he writes about it or explains it, is how important it is to, in a way, lose yourself or to fully encounter a sort of state of chaos before one can evolve again, like a phoenix rising from the ashes. And today we are gonna ask Miriam actually to start and explain a bit more of what this theory actually contains and what it is about, and then Josef and I dig in later. So Miriam, can you tell us a bit more about this?
Oh, I can, Dyonne. Yes, so the theory is called the Theory of Positive Disintegration. Disintegration sounds like a bad thing, right? Disintegrating and breaking apart, but this is the theory of the positive disintegration. And we talked about with David Abram, we talked about how the tears will nourish so this is related hint. But if we start with looking at what developmental potential means and what kind of factors determine your developmental potential. So there are three factors according to this mindset, and one is your genes and your the thing you come in with, so to speak, and the other is your environment. So it's nature and nurture, and then the third is the interesting part. It's we call it the third factor, and this is your internal drive. Your internal drive, yeah, and this is something you can cultivate. Absolutely. Okay, so the theory of positive disintegration, it has 5 levels, and the first level is called Uni Level Integration. And Uni Level means that everything is on like a flat screen. It's you perceive the world as you are harmoniously integrated in societal structures. You don't feel guilt or shame. You know what to say and when to say it. You know how to behave in various social situations. You don't have any problems, basically. And this is most people, 70% or something. Most people are at this level where you're integrated and you feel harmonious and fine. You will have your drives will be the basic drives, like finding a mate, having a good time, watching TV, and
procreation and consuming.
And then the kind of competition that is between sort of, you take on anyone, and it's on this, you can see this flat level where like a school class where everyone you just take on, a fight with anyone and that kind of thing. So you're not the striving is on one level.
And the fact that you, sorry to come in there, but I think viewers will wonder, but I do have problems. I do have problems choosing a school. I do have problems finding a proper mate. So these trivial problems, or as they perceive them, life problems, they are life problems. But are they not considered problems according to Dabrowski, or what is the harmony in that?
It is still sort of the harmonious aspect is that you are fine with the conditions of the world. So you can tell yourself, like, this is just how it is to, this is just, everybody is.
Social construct, so to say.
Yeah. It's part of the game, life sucks and then you die. That's also primary integration. You got it. You have, you're fine with the picture that's presented.
Then, proceed.
Then we have something that where a lot of people, most people probably, end up at the uni level disintegration, which is level 2. And this can happen when you're a teenager and suddenly you have a problem with everything, you know, and who is your authority? Who do you trust? What are you going to do? Or when you have your midlife crisis, or when you quit working and you retire, for example, you can have,
you need to break out something.
Yeah, something happens and you have a crisis. You have a big crisis. So you have doubts about what's going on. You're moody, and you don't see a way out. It's internal and external. So you have a problem with the world, and you have a problem with yourself and how you react to things. And the reason it's still called uni level disintegration is because it's still kind of on this one level. You look every way and you're like, it doesn't work that way. If I go that way, that's all shit. And that's shit. Nothing works. And and this is a horrible place to be. And if you're there for too long, you might end up seriously ill or suicidal. It's not a nice place. So what most people do is they reintegrate at level 1, the primary integration.
Yeah, they go back.
Yeah, they go back, and you just say, oh man, I had a really tough teenage time, I'm glad I'm over that now. Now I'm going to go to work, I'm going to get married and have 2.9 children, and
I'm going to do it again. For the second time.
But that is the most common thing to do. But another thing that you can, another path to take is level 3, which is the multi-level disintegration. And now suddenly it's not just this path, but suddenly you see, wow, I am at the bottom of this mountain, and here is who I could be.
Yes.
Who I could be.
Yes.
And imagine that, because then you have this, you are suddenly faced with the guilt and the shame at not doing what you could do, and being able to see who you could be, and you are not there, and you have such a long way. So this is the multi-level disintegration. But remember, it's called the theory of positive disintegration. So this is a really good thing. And once you're at level 3, you cannot integrate back to level 1 again.
Yes. You cannot unsee what you're seeing, what you're aware of.
Probably can't go back to 2 either when it's multi-level.
No.
So spontaneous multi-level disintegration, that's what it calls. And this is the catalyst time. Yeah, there's a Swedish song lyric that's so wonderful. It says, "Det förflutna tornar upp som en ouvertyr." The past, like coming at me, and that is level 3. I figured I was at level 3 for about 20 years, I would say, at least.
And I believe, to explain a bit more for people not knowing, not having a grasp yet, I think you can be in level 3. I mean, you can never go back, I concord, but it can be like, for instance, like professionally or personally you're evolving, but relationally, with your relationships, you still have to evolve they all have to evolve to level 3, or either you have friction in a relationship and you leave behind that relationship. So all your parts and bits and that need to develop for you to be able to evolve to the next level, but before you're through with that, I mean, so you can have,
I would say also sometimes it's really, this uni level thing is to be in that is like to be in a cage, but you still, it's kind of, it's balanced.
Yeah, you like it.
You like it.
Yeah,
it's the comfort zone, the safe comfort zone.
Yeah, it's a safe comfort zone, and I cannot go on but think about this thing of being in slavery, because that's a slavery thing, to be in this kind of unilever thing, because it's very good to be in that kind of thing, even in 2, even things, even in 3, in the stage of 3, you are things, but still you're not doing the things, so you're still in some kind of slavery, and not breaking through. So So, but you can, there is something that's starting in the disintegration, but still there, you're not doing it. And that is of doing, which is to machen, meaning to act on the things, you know, and that is the real
taking power,
taking power,
yeah,
to
yeah.
really move into the unknown,
yeah,
to really work into the suffering part.
Yeah.
But that's part, because then, you know, like most of the work that psychologists do, you know, I'm sorry to say that, is to move back into level 1.
Yes, you're right.
Which
perfect,
is,
yeah.
you know, that's good when it's harmonious and things are working well, you know, and things are kind of that, and you should get used to your kind of cage. Get used to your cage.
Yes.
And don't make too much noise and things like that. That's however, sadly, it is all about sometimes.
Yes.
Very often. It's not about breaking the things, you know.
No.
Like going into level 3, with really there is a disintegration, really disintegration, and you're doing some things. So maybe you can talk about level 4 then.
Yeah, I'll continue a little bit with level 3 because it's a very interesting level, and you can certainly be at level 3 for your entire life.
Yes,
it's possible. It's possible to spend your life at level 3, and a lot of artists. If you look at like Oscar Wilde and Dostoevsky, Kafka, like level 3 is very creative. It's very creative because, and you're driven so much by your like bouts of self-loathing, and you need to do something, and you're like, oh, you know, and then you fall back again to this doubt and this internal conflict, this major internal conflict that you have. But like I said, it's very it's driven by guilt, shame, at not quite living up to your own ideals and your own.
Because you actually there's this archetype, the tormented artist, or the misery addict, that person that always stays. I mean, I can relate to it from a personal perspective. When I was in my level 3, that I noticed for myself, oh yeah, I feel I felt conflict, but as you say, also remorse for a life that I didn't live. And there was also this experience, sorry, I'm looking for the words, as if what I notice, it's actually an excuse in a way. Well, not consciously maybe, but unconsciously it's an excuse for not showing up in your own life, to wander around in the swamp of misery, like, oh, nothing is working for me, poor pitiful me. And it got me nowhere. It's what they say, and
also some kind of victimhood, you know.
It is victimhood,
circumstances have made you feel this and this happened. That's why I'm here. That's so this and this did. Maybe I'm not the one to blame, but that's why I'm not. Things are not happening, and you find lots of excuses to be this victimhood, and you can really make all these kind of excuses really legitimized, you know.
Yes, legitimized. And what I learn in this level is even to change my thoughts, change my inner landscape. Well, it took me quite a while actually, but
it takes a while.
Yeah, really.
It's really hard.
It takes a while. I mean, I'm 45 now, so it takes a while to be able to turn that around. But I recently, just to underline how true this is with this level 3, and also people from, for instance, level 2 wanting to take you down even. I had a discussion with someone. I think I put a quote somewhere like, either you find a way or you find an excuse, you know. You find an excuse or you find a way, and having to recover from PTSD myself, I think I can permit myself, I can allow myself to say, like, okay, I've been through some dark nights. I learned how to change my mind, really change my mind and look forward. And this person said, well, not everybody can do that. And then I would like to disagree, or I did disagree. I said, like, yes, you can. It just requires lots and lots of work with, for instance, a psychologist, because he helps you to change that inner landscape and to, yeah, well, you know more about that, obviously. But for me, I really had a discussion with that person, and that person didn't want to continue the conversation with me because he just took me for a nut. And I'm like, you're the nut. No, we're just in a different level. You're probably level 2. And I'm, yeah, evolving to my level 4. And excuse me for that.
Yeah.
And then people get angry or
Yeah.
jealous, or I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, but usually it is like people feel like this, that there are some things that you cannot change, you know, like the genes. It means all the trauma that you have discovered, they are there and they cannot be dealt with. So it's kind of the genes, or there's not epigenetics, but the genes. So nothing can be changed. Nothing can be changed. And lots of people can stick to that. And even if you're changing, you know, they see it as a big eruption.
It's a threat.
Yes, on the kind of theory of what is leveled as a theory of being in the balance. And if you really can see or give it to them that there is some kind of challenge to this theory of the balance, then
that's the third factor that
yes,
Miriam will talk
exactly.
about in but
yes.
Also Miriam wants to jump in a couple of times.
I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, no,
it's okay.
No, it's great. This is the kind of discussion we should have about this topic, because it's super engaging, and it's so interesting. I said about the level 3 that it's very creative, but it's like unpredictably creative. So you cannot direct your creativity. But like Oscar Wilde, for example, there's it's said about him that he never wrote anything when he was happy.
Yeah.
So and this is a very typical level 3 thing, that you can like everything sort of bursts out from this pain, and that's it's not nobody's saying that it's bad in any way. We're just saying there are 2 more levels. I just want to tell you that that's what the theory holds, you know. So it's possible to spend your entire life in level 3, but you might not be very happy, and you might not be, because this is a disintegrative state, and you can reach an integrated state, a new level of integration. So so the level 4 is called organized multi-level disintegration. So first it was spontaneous multi-level disintegration, and when it's organized, that's when you let your you make your conscience active, and you actively look for loopholes in your own thinking, and you try to test yourself, and you put yourself in difficult situations that you don't like to be in, because you want to see if you can get further and if you can do something else with it.
Yes.
It's this where the third factor comes in. Your inner drive. How much do I want to reach that the me that is on top of the mountain? Like how much am I willing to give to? How much am I willing to sweat? You know, on my way up there, and sweat and shake and nearly fall down, but I won't fall down. You know, because I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
Yes.
It's sort of the you know, the level 4 is the daring naked level, where you are you're looking for am I really true? And when I narrate the story of my life, and I say, you know, now this happened again, it's always happening to me, this, you know, it always starts to rain when I want to go for a picnic, whatever. That's a metaphor.
You change the narrative,
and then you go, really? Does it really? What do I mean by rain? What do I mean by rain? And why do I react like this to rain? Really? Am I sure? You know, and you that is the factor, and that is the organized level of disintegration. Thoughts about that? I feel that I'm at that level now.
I noticed myself when you were talking, like how I used to be, well, not per se just the victimhood, but also black and white thinking that comes with level 2 and previous levels. And indeed that I use my language differently nowadays. I do start a sentence just in the now as it is, and not anymore, as you say, making all these assumptions or act as if there is a truth to it, to what you say, like, oh, I'm on my bike again. Yes, in the Netherlands we do that. And you know, like, oh, it's raining again, oh, poor me. Or, oh, again, always when I go with my bike it's raining, because that's a way of making association and a correlation that's not there. That's the pity thinking, sort of say. And I noticed for myself, so how my thoughts are changing, how my patterns of thinking are changing, and as you say, challenging your thinking or looking for the loopholes. And it becomes so much more peaceful and so much more spacious. I love it now, you know, that I don't feel that I have to check a certain mind map for a truth. No, I just explore the now, look around me and see what's there now, instead of looking at the past and like, oh, you see, it's the same thing again. No, it's challenging that as well. Well, those thoughts, yeah, challenging those thoughts, how I used to look at things, and not making them a present truth.
I like that.
Man, I love it. It's the element of surprise all the time again.
Yes. Yeah. For me, well, that's how I can see it. I had maybe another guy that I met, you know, some years ago, and he's 94, but he's also taught me about this kind of learning from success, meaning that everything that you go through, that is really you are seeing things as something new all the time. So it's a kind of rejuvenating thing. It's
yes,
from the first time that you see the things. It is. Even this morning, I see things differently. And that's kind of rejuvenating. It is, because it's not like it was before. It's a new thing. It's not that I go into something old. It's new. I'm living with when something is there, you know, and the sun is there and the trees are there and they are talking to me in another way, which is new. It's not from yesterday. It's new.
And if I may add something that I'm realizing more and more the last 2-3 years, and for instance, a very common thing like listening to the radio. Miriam and I talked about it once before. I cannot listen to the radio anymore, and I tell you why. Because even if an artist has a sublime voice or beautiful chords on the piano or guitar or whatever, when the lyrics are just about, oh, I wanna sleep with you tonight, or why don't you call me anymore, I cannot listen to mainstream music anymore, because it's all level 1 and 2. Well, when you're latest to Dabrowski, because I was really, why am I detesting the radio more and more and more and more? I cannot listen to that anymore if music has no meaning or no content. And there was a time when I was going through this transition, having the friction, moving from one level to the other, that I could listen to music and just enjoy either the voice or the sound, because the music in itself was nice. But I always had a hard time filtering the lyrics. But now I really cannot anymore, you know. I cannot at all. I cannot leave the words behind, because they're so annoying, because it's so either childish or primate or whatever. I just can't listen to it anymore. And I'm in mourning. I'm in mourning for not being able. It's embarrassing. But that's crazy. And that's an example of moving through a next layer. I just cannot deal with it anymore.
No.
That's why I love listening to music in languages that I don't really speak, where I can just...
Oh, yeah. That's interesting.
Yeah. It's true. I listen to a lot of music in languages I don't understand. Sort of the only way to, because then I can imagine the profound meaning of it, and it doesn't mean that. I have one favorite song called "Chofshi Meoshar." Joseph knows what that means, and I'm like, oh,
Free
it sounds
and happy.
Yes, I know, but I didn't know that it was such a Schlager.
Schlager.
So, because I thought, to me, it sounded so profound, and with the melody and everything. So I was just, when I asked my friend what it meant, and she was like, it means free and happy, and I'm like, what does it? I'm going to pretend that it means so much more than that. But we have one more level. Maybe I should just say that before we round up. So the level 5 is called the secondary integration. We had primary and now we have secondary. And again, it's a harmonious state where you don't have conflict with the external world and not with yourself either. Because now your values and your behavior are sort of aligned in this way. And you don't have these conflicts. I mean, might have a little conflict every now and then, but on the whole, you don't really... you're not at war with your life and the world you live in. And even so, one example that usually comes up in descriptions of this secondary integration is Etty Hillesum, Jewish
the war survivor.
Yes, she didn't survive, so she died in the concentration camps. But she wrote poetry, and that's how we put her at level 5 from her poetry, and she walked with a straight back into the concentration camps. Because even then, I'm not saying that you should do that in any way, but it's an image for not being in conflict with your world
and your fate.
So that is Dag Hammarskjöld is another example that usually comes up, and Albert Schweitzer. And so we have these people who might not be like the greatest angels on earth, or but it's people who are living according to their own values, and that is what this level means. So it doesn't mean that you have reached this one state where everyone is the same, but it means you're living according to your values, and you're you're not in conflict with yourself or with your external world. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry is also an example. Peace Pilgrim.
And what I realized, but maybe it's more for the next recording, but the more peace when stepping into stage 5, more peace, but more. I had a word there. More fluidity. Fluidity with everything. Okay, well, it's not like this and it's like that, but not coming from an feeling of indifference, coming from a total understanding of how processing works and how feelings and thoughts and evolving how it works, and being at ease with the process of transforming, transmuting even, and that it doesn't feel, as you say, like there has to be this huge friction or conflict before you can move to the next thing. No, it just happens organically.
And so I just want to point out that this is when we think about really wise people, we might have this image of someone who is very stoic, or like or Jesus, or we create this image in our head and we say that it must be like that. So when we talk about the levels in this theory of positive disintegration, it's not like that. It's not like that everyone who reaches level 5 fits this mold of wise person. It can be something completely, they can be completely different, all of them. And it can be, for example, say someone at level 5 who meets someone they don't really like, and you can still be at level 5 and you can meet this person that you don't like, and you can tell them, and they start swearing or doing something that you disapprove of, and you tell them, I don't like that, don't talk like that to me. This can be level 5 behavior. How you are okay with your actions and your values are aligned. You see, so level 5 does not mean someone who's like has left their body or you know, who's
not
doesn't care
enlightenment
about anything. It's not like that. So I just wanted to point that out. Maybe this is an interesting thing to explore further in, you know, what does it mean? What does life at level 5 look like? You know, if we just want to brainstorm about it.
Yes.
Yeah, it's
so
not
Joseph,
just
you
balance.
can
Yeah. Should